Hello, YouTube. Big day today. Today is the day of reckoning. I've exposed a bunch of the lies that the owner of Fire Mecca has made on this channel, and today's a big day because of the background. I encourage you to watch the previous video and watch any previous videos on this topic. In a nutshell, the owner of Fire Mecca went online accusing me of having restraining orders. They wrote this multiple times, and something came forward that they allegedly ran a background check on me, which is maybe where they lied to people and said where they got this information. So we're going to prove them wrong and show that they lied to destroy my reputation. And there was way worse stuff done, including I had ordered things from the company Fire Mecca. I had ordered products, and they had my address, and they went and shared. They doxed me. They shared my address online to tens of thousands of strangers, and essentially asking people maybe like to come find me. They talked about having a sleeper cell to be like tracking me, really insane stuff like that. Um, so in order to expose more of the lies that the owner of Fire Mecca spread online, I went ahead and ordered a background check. So I'm going to show you that, and then in a moment we're going to get to the results. So here's a little bit of the background. Online and spread a bunch of lies all over the internet. And one of those lies, I've already covered a bunch of them, and as I've said, I haven't even covered everything yet. Um, this person, Corinne Vivers, went online and wrote to thousands of people that I have restraining orders. These are some of the things that they wrote, and we already showed in other videos, but we'll show it again where this stuff came from. But they were writing all over online that I have various restraining orders, that I have restraining orders here. Another one, there's restraining orders, and here's another one. This one was about getting involved in quote unquote leadership in the area. And then down here also claiming that I have restraining orders. Um, including telling people I'm lying about who I am, including telling people that I'm a con artist. Okay, so this is in the other video, and then we cover this that one of my friends reached out to ask Corinne if if there was any evidence of any of these accusations, including the restraining orders, because that, I have more messages. And the owner of Fire Mecca, Corinne here, says, I owe you no evidence, kindly fuck off. And then we have other messages that may be coming up showing that they had talked to other people about my background and possibly convinced them that they actually ran a background check on me, which, would have been illegal anyways under the guise of Burners Without Borders. This is supposed to have sound, I think. Uh, did time I checked, didn't take any of this stuff down. Mecca is not only a terrible person for spreading nasty, nasty lies. So then, what are we going to do about this? So, uh, I found a place that's FTC compliant to actually run a background check. And this is all to show the lies that the owner of Fire Mecca spread about me. So you can watch the other video, but we're put in the email address. We're going to go ahead and run this background check. Yeah. So I ordered the background check live. turn down the volume and so I'm going to go ahead here, and this was live recording. We selected the most complete $99 report, maximum criminal search. And I go through. Of course, I'm not going to show like all of my information, but we fill this out, and then we get to the order page and put in the credit card and everything, and then here's the receipt that I got from the company. Your background check has been ordered, blah, blah, blah. So that is that. And today we're going to show the results. So let's go ahead and do that. So here's the email that I got from Checker. The company is owned by something called Checker.com. They can do full compliance employee or employer background checks, including for nonprofits. So this is the hey, your background check is complete. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the next steps. So they want you to log in. Let's go to that. Clicked on this here. So this is what they send you when it's complete. And they take you here. I'll move the screen up a little bit. You can see. So we need to type all this stuff in. So obviously I'm going to block this stuff off. But this is the website. Then it has a button down here that says Get Status. So give me a second and I will fill this stuff out. And I'll block it out, obviously, but filling this out, year, and then we're going to click the button at the bottom down here that says Get Status. It's loading. Okay, it says, Hi Daniel. Your report is below. Make sure to take action. Okay, so this is the background check. Okay, so I did look some of this stuff up right before starting this recording. I just want to show you going through the process, and so you can see. I'll move the screen. I'm on the Checker.com website, and anyways, okay, it's complete, and it's showing some more personal information here, so I'll be blocking that out. And then there's the report. Then I'm also going to download the PDF, and I can show the PDF. So this says clear. So they basically break things down into a couple different areas, but what they're saying at the end of the day, the main report says clear. That means you had no negative issues, and if there were any negative issues such as restraining orders, they would come up on this. And then this is the same thing that's in the PDF, but I will pull up the PDF for you guys. So I did have to look this up, and oh, it's actually updated since the last time I looked. So if there was any issues, they would have already popped up. And these would be like yellow or red or something. You can Google it for yourself. Look up Checker.com background checks. They are FTC compliant. I had to look up what does the difference between a complete and a clear mean, and it looks like it's basically the same thing. If anything had been found, they look through all of these areas, states, counties, federal. We did the most complete one that we could. And so complete also just means that they didn't find anything. I don't know how or why they differentiate that, but go ahead and Google it for yourself if you're not sure about that. But this is the website, and um, so it's saying clear, clear. This is the state's search, and then they have a like a overall at the top. So no criminal records whatsoever found on the state search. They search states, um, Michigan, Arizona, and North Carolina. So clear, clear, clear. Well, complete also means they didn't find anything. And then there's did some county searches, the federal search, um, Wayne County, Clark County, Maricopa County, and Milwaukee. So this type of check is compliant with, I believe it's called FCRA. Same thing that any employer would use. So anything that would be of concern, like a restraining order, would come up here. And then let's see, might have to block out more things, but I'm going to download the PDF here. And oh, it's just going to open it right here. Okay, so I can download this. Probably have to block this out, but it's got personal information up here, something about California, like everything has, and then it's just the same thing that we just looked at. So that's that. If you think there's still some kind of issue, you know, take it up with a checker, and let me see if I can find one more thing for you. Sorry, this is going to get a little messy. I'm going to turn off the video for a second and look up, just so you guys know what was the, yeah, okay, that was quick. I showed this in the other video, but I used this site to like sign up. It's called Good Hire, which is owned, it says right up here in the upper left hand corner, which is owned by Checker. So sign up through Good Hire, and then the larger parent company called Checker is what actually does it. And yeah, right over here, FCRA, compliant, and this is not some kind of joke thing. So if any of that was true, they're all about their speed, I guess. But yeah, if thing is, if any of these claims about me having restraining orders or any other criminal things, I have a completely clean like criminal background. If any of this stuff was true, it would have come up in the background check. So that is like from my perspective, this is just one of dozens of lies that the owner of Fire Mecca shared. They lied to their friends. They lied probably to their coworkers, and we've exposed a bunch of them. They've lied to my friends. I originally went no contact with them because, and I've covered this so many times, I originally went no contact with them because I found out that they were lying about someone else in a very damaging way, about someone else in the fire spinning community. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, well, I probably don't really want to be um, very associated with this person. And um, so I went no contact with them. And then they say in their Twitch stream that they woke up in the middle of the night, realized that they hadn't heard from me in 3 months, looked on Facebook, noticed I had unfriended them, and that's when, like, right after that is when they went online to tell a bunch of my friends and strangers that they apparent that I had restraining orders. It's all false. And I'll show one more thing here. Um, I'll show the doxing, and you know, if making false allegations like this is not bad enough, um, I'll show the doxing here. Okay, so here's the doxing, and like I said, this this just gets so much worse and so much worse. So, um, Corinne writes to me on my Facebook page that here's that um, I have various restraining orders, which I already debunked, and that that she apparently has a video recording of me and my mentor showing up, and which is okay, whatever. You can show up at a public park. This was before way before all this happened, but says um, they have witnesses of me yelling at them at the park. Like, what does that have to do with anything? Um, they wanted me to take. So the worst thing for the owner of Fire Mecca is for people to know this, and they're gonna say, as they've said a bunch of times, to stop uh, telling people about what they did, and because they know that that's the worst thing. So here's the doxing. So in the group where Corinne posted this original information, which had over 60,000 people in it. Um, Corinne thinks that's a private group, but it's actually not. Um, and uh, today, I think it's up to 70,000. We can check, but um, so what I'm showing you here, the person that sent me all of these screenshots. So this is Corinne posting something up here about some person's Twitter, which is okay, great, strange enough. Down here, they I want you to see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is a video that they posted, and they're going to monologue the video. And I'm going to show two views of this. These are the only screenshots of this that I have. And you can see this image. This is a video recording of text messages between Corinne and Jill. And see this circly thing down here at the bottom? That's a play button. Show you one other view that I have. This is scrolled down a little bit. Let me jump back. See this black box with the bubbles? And it says the creepy guy is an aspiring author, and links to my Amazon book. This isn't scrolled down, another shot of the same thing. Black box, link. These are the text bubbles, and a link to my Amazon book, and a screenshot of a picture of me, and here's somebody's comment. So that's in the 60,000 person Facebook group, but I also have this video. So first we're gonna watch some of the things. I'll show the whole video either in this one or in the next one. Some of the things that Corinne said and some of the things that Jill said. But here's the doxing. So They just get done talking about the book that I wrote, and then and we can talk about the book. It's really no big deal, but it's the only proof that quote unquote that Corinne has that I'm a quote unquote a liar because I'm an atheist, but I used to be religious and I wrote some poetry books that they're not even really religious poetry, but I was like pretty spiritual and at that time extremely liberal type of spirituality, and I put the word God in the title of the books, and I wrote a book that was like these prayers. And I have, my reasons for that. That was a few years ago. And um, I'm glad that I wrote the books. Would I have titled them the same today? Probably not. But they're a piece of art that I did make. And could I rename them? Maybe. But I just haven't, and they're still up on Amazon. Like, and that is, you're going to see, I'm going to show, but let's get to the doxing. So this, what you're seeing here is the video that Corinne posted, this one and this one from, see the comment here about the cat napping? That's in this 60,000 person group. So hopefully the audio is correct, and hopefully it's not too loud. But this is Corinne scrolling down, showing the conversation between herself and Jill.
And then, uh, yeah, this is their last known address.
Did you hear that? Here's the address and my name. Now, remember, I I never used my real name on social media. Okay, Corinne uses their legal name, first and last name, on like all over their social media accounts. They use their real legal first and last name. I didn't do that, so Corinne had to go out of their way to
And then,
first post my name and then also um, post my address. And just in case anyone saw the video in the 60,000 person Facebook group and maybe was zoning out, she verbalizes, here's his last known address.
and then, uh, yeah, this is their last known address.
Okay? So there you go. She also tells Jill that I was stalking someone right here, um, where like there's another false allegation like right after that. Um, Here, Jill claims that uh, Jubilee, who we're gonna watch, posts uh, posted. This is in reference. What you're seeing here, I can't zoom in on this, but this is Jubilee's YouTube channel. Corinne tells Jill that this woman here is posting Corinne's addresses on their YouTube channel. Totally false. No evidence of any of it, but is telling that to Jill. And is telling Jill that I was stalking someone and a bunch of other stuff. And down here, this is the same video, tells Jill that, and all the people, listen to
Hang
this.
out with them. And then eventually kind of like hyper focused on me. Um,
Well, that's a weird one. I did cover this already. I tallied up all of the messages that Corinne sent to me versus messages that I sent to Corinne, and it's overwhelming the number of messages. And Corinne would send me things like good morning and good night and heart react, all my messages and stuff, but she's trying to paint a picture that I was somehow like obsessed with them or something, whilst listening to them say that I was hyper focused on them. Like, no, I went no contact with them. There was no hyperfixation.
And then eventually it kind of like hyper focused on me. Um, this is where they told me I should be I should be hiding my names and addresses because it seems like they
So what this is so remember, this is what they posted to 60,000 strangers online. This is one. Let me zoom this up a little bit so you can see a little better. This is one continuous video,
are frequently out to
right?
look up.
We were just
So
over
that's
here.
cool.
Last known
Harassing
address.
me. This is the yeah. This is their last known address.
Okay. I'm going to skip down here. They say I'm hyper focusing on them. Now, when I met Corinne the first time, I didn't even know they were a business owner. And I like small business like as a thing. And I'll just show the screenshots. I have evidence of me like going out of my way to like trying to support their small business. Um, I just offered them money to do this like promotion. I was like, yeah, well, I'm in fire spinning and uh, like we were becoming friends, and I was like, hey, what if like it sounded like sales were difficult sometimes, and I was like, you know what? I could like, what if I sponsored like some kind of free giveaway? And I literally even say in the text message, which I have, that I will obviously have to show, not today, but that I was like, but I don't want to be mentioned like as the a donor or something. It's because I'm like, it's not about me. It's like someone who I thought was a friend has a small business, and like I thought it'd be cool and a nice gesture and whatever. So, anyways, but I have had multiple small businesses, and I used to do web design. And so when I met Corinne, we talked about that. And I was like, hey, well, I love talking about small business stuff with people, like sharing information that we've learned. And if you've ever done that kind of stuff before, like there's so many lessons learned and stuff, and you can learn from other people. So Corinne told me about a couple of their small business endeavors. And since I used to do web design, I knew that when you get a domain name, a lot of people don't know this, but uh, if unless you sign up for like the security feature, it will actually publish your home address, I think your name too, but it's like the address associated with the credit card that you used or something like that. And uh, every single domain name in the world like has that information unless you do this masking thing, which is like an extra step that a lot of small business owners don't know. Um, and they just sign up and they get a domain name and they don't realize that because it costs money, it's like an extra 12 or $15 a month to mask your address, and some small business owners don't. It's not always clear that if you don't pay that extra money that your address is just out there, and you might not want that, especially on the entire internet. So this message, I mean, if you read it, I'm like, look, it says right there. I said it's probably not a big deal for this website, but you should just know. If you do this, you can see like all this stuff just from your URL. Like, are you aware of that? I spent a lot of time working with Google Analytics, which is not that easy to learn. And so you can see in the message, I'm asking, hey, like, do you have Google Analytics set up? It's actually kind of cool to like help you optimize your website and stuff. So I'm like giving this, it depends on the size of the website, um, like whether you think you need to mask your address, but just so you know, it's probably a good thing to do that. Um, and any normal person, so first of all, Corinne's not showing the part of the conversation where she says, thank you, like I didn't know that, and like, thanks for the information. Of course not. Instead, she's going to tell 60,000 people that apparently I was sharing this business advice because, listen to this.
They told me I should be I should be hiding my names and addresses because it seems like they are frequently out to look up lots of things on people.
Not true. So they're trying to tell everybody else that I look people up or something. Like, and we're going to get into all the projection that this narcissist has in just a moment here. But they're trying to spin this that I was telling them a decent safety piece of advice for small business owners because I like to look them up. So just think about that for a second. If that was really something that I liked to do, was like look people up or something, then I wouldn't tell them that, right? Like, but apparently Corinne never thought that about that or whatever, wants to make me look bad.
And dox them.
Um, and then she goes on in multiple places to say that I doxed them or doxed them. So what I showed here, this is doxing. This is someone who is not using their real name on social media, writes that they want something like a terrorist sleeper cell around them, and here's their address to 60,000 people. Look up what doxing is. Telling a small business owner that it's a good idea to hide their information, and because a lot aren't aware of that, is not doxing someone, but they go to 60,000 people and they say, I like to dox people. And then they say in other places that I already showed those screenshots, I believe, where Corinne says that I doxed them. Never once, never happened. And since I already showed that Corinne lied about the restraining orders and a bunch of other things, at this point, you shouldn't believe anything that they say.
They told me I should be I should be hiding my names and addresses because it seems like they are frequently out to look up lots of things on people and dox them. So
Corinne claims that I doxed them, which is not true. Um, if someone already uses their first and last legal name all over every part of their social media, um, and then you use their social media handle, which is their name, there's no other way to refer to them, so nobody sees that as doxing. It's your own problem you use your if you use your legal name as your social media uh, profile, then that's your own problem.
yeah, that's all the evidence.
That's all the evidence. So then they're going to say there's other evidence, and then just wait, it gets worse. So they went over that I'm a bad person because according to them, I lied about being an atheist because they looked up some poetry books and a prayer book that I wrote a few years ago when I used to be religious. So that's their evidence I'm a liar. Um, and that is a reason to apparently spread lies that a guy has restraining orders because he told you he was an atheist, but you found some books he wrote a few years ago that have the word God in the title. Okay. Um, and then they share screenshots of me giving good business advice.
So yeah, that's all the evidence.
That's all the evidence. That's the evidence of what? Um, and then they write that uh, they tell Jill they have law enforcement at their house. Like they're absolutely telling people how they're in danger, and they go on their Twitch stream to say, "All my friends think I'm in danger." Like, of course they do, because you told them that you're in danger and that you had to call the police and stuff. Um, like, we don't even know if that's true. They're just telling people that they called the police. Like, we're going to get into this other part in a second that you're going to see.
that I'm going to share right now.
Oh, this is all that. Listen
Lay
to
out
this.
to look up lots of things on people and dox them. So, yeah, that's all the evidence that I'm going to share right now. I have routes of all of the hikes that we took. I wish that
Never seen those. Never seen what these routes. What hikes? From here on forward, everything she says is not only made up, but they never share any evidence of any of it. Just wait. Watch this.
I'd taken notes on how many times he had mentioned the.
So that's the end of the video. It actually cuts off there. Um, so they've never posted anything else. Um, we haven't seen any other videos like showing, you know, oh, this is just, what do they say? This is all the evidence for now.
Yeah, that's all the evidence that I'm going to share right now.
Are you gonna, is the owner of Fire Mecca gonna show any other evidence ever? Um, we already talked about there's a video recording. We never seen that. We never saw any witnesses come forward. We never saw any restraining orders, but it gets worse. So that's the doxing to over 60,000 people. Um, Once again, if you ever order anything from Fire Mecca and get it delivered, now they have your mailing address. And whatever you do, don't unfriend them on Facebook because they might completely flip out. What else do we have? Fire Mecca. This is the Fire Mecca YouTube account. Oh, so we'll jump over to this real quick. Um, so the owner of Fire Mecca has been invited a number of times to come and have a conversation. Maybe they could clear something up. Maybe they could share any evidence whatsoever. I mean, if anything that they said is true, they could easily come forward and show any of it. But we all know there's a reason why that they're not, because none of it's true. And my friend Jubilee has uh, invited Corinne to come up on their channel to publicly explain any of this behavior or show any of the evidence or optionally uh, apologize for any of this, but at the least come have a conversation. Um, that is how you begin to fix things. This is not the first time that the owner of Fire Mecca has been invited to have a conversation, um, and they obviously will not because they don't want this information to get out that they did all this stuff. I mean, we can only hypothesize why they won't come have a cordial conversation and explain themselves. Um, but uh, it would really clear a lot of things up, wouldn't it? But they can't really say true things for some reason. So let's keep going. So the owner of Fire Mecca has commented on numerous in numerous places, either talking to some of Jubilee's followers or commenting to Jubilee. These are usually comments on right on Jubilee's YouTube channel. These are all still up. Um, Public comments. This is a comment either on on somewhere on Jubilee's YouTube channel. Uh, the owner of Fire Mecca says, "You keep forgetting the part where that man's actions, this me, um, outright lies ruined his reputation." So the only thing that um, the owner of Fire Mecca has even substantiated could be interpreted as a lie is that I said I was an atheist, even though when before I was an atheist, I wrote those books. We're going to get into that more here. Um, and Either way, so someone says, a no valid proof of what you're saying is posted. No valid proof of what you're saying is posted. Corinne has said that there's videos of me like doing some kind of bad things, that they have proof that I've stalked someone, that they have proof that I have restraining orders, they have proof that people from Burners Without Borders in Detroit has said I have a bad reputation. Notice every single thing that the owner of Fire Mecca says is just what they say. No proof. Now check this out. The owner of Fire Mecca says the proof is in the original posts in private comments. So if any of this is true, let's see those. I believe what they're talking about is this. This focus on that I wrote these books. Because this is in what Corinne thinks this is private. It's not private. 60,000, 70,000 person Facebook group is not a private group. And that has actually been shown through litigation. But either way, they're saying the proof of Daniel's lies ruined Daniel's reputation. So the proof of these lies, they're not going to tell anybody what these are because they're lying. They can't come forward because everything that they're saying is a lie. And then they go on to lie and say, I asked a private group of 60,000 strangers if anyone experienced what I experienced, which is also a lie. We already looked at the original post. It's not what they even said on their Twitch. I just posted that I was looking for a cat. They didn't ask. They didn't do the, hey, has anybody like had any experiences with this guy? Here's his picture. This is a lie. Then they write, I made no accusations. This is a lie. We already went over all the accusations that they made. I made no threats. This is a lie. Go watch the Twitch stream. I mean, there's a threat right here. I suggest you take this down. I mean, well, this one's not a threat. This is what's called coercive control, but it's like, take this down or else kind of thing. So this is not a threat, but go watch the Twitch stream. Then they say, like, none of this makes sense. Then they say my original post was a plea for help. Oh, was the original post to a private group to see if anyone experienced what I experienced, or was it a plea for help? There was no plea for help in the original post. It was a bunch of lies to ruin someone's reputation. And it read more like a warning. and then it was really like a plea for help to find a cat. Um, in addition, um, but uh, the thing is, the timing of this doesn't make sense either, because like if Corinne was the type of person that like vets people that they meet, um, like why did it take them a year to ask like other people that they knew that I knew about my background and then do a background check on me? Um, the if this was true, then they would have done it a long time ago. The reason that they did this is because this is a lie. Okay, we've never you have no valid proof, and it gets worse. I mean you're gonna be shocked. It gets worse. So let's see the next one. Once again, the owner of Fire Mecca posting on Jubilee's YouTube channel. Um, here's this projection. You took information public about my past, made it look like I claim those things in every conversation I have. Oh, gee, I wonder what does that look like when someone claims they're an atheist, and then you go look up books that they wrote a few years ago and make it seem like they're lying, like project much. Um, Where's the proof? They said I did not post Daniel's information publicly. Well, unfortunately for Corinne, the courts already figured out that if you post in a 60,000 person Facebook group, it's seen as a it's what's called a publication. You're publishing information. Once a group, the litigation is something like once a Facebook group that's labeled as private is over like 12 or 15 people, the courts said, I think it's 15 people is what I read. The courts have decided that those are considered things you post in there are considered public publications because um, there's no actual way to once you're over a certain size on Facebook, the courts have decided from other issues that you can look up the stories that the groups there's no reasonable way for the admins to know, like no one joining the group has made like this agreement that it crosses these legal area where it's considered a publication because of the size of the group. That's what they determined from those cases. So, anyways, you decide for yourself. Does posting someone's name and address in a group of 60,000 strangers the, consider a public publication? I mean, you tell me. This is a lie. Uh, then she lies and she says that I chose to post my information. I mean, at that point, my information already got out to 60,000 strangers on the internet. Literally could be anybody. And like, you, what Corinne did was wrong and thought that no one would ever find out. Um, Next, the owner of Fire Mecca says there's a bunch more evidence. Where's that evidence? We've never seen any evidence of anything they said except the God book, which that's not what you're claiming. The owner of Fire Mecca is claiming that there's these stalking and restraining orders. Yeah. Then they write, when would you? I think this is talking to Jubilee. When would you like to come on my stream and see all the security camera footage? We Everybody would love to see that, but it's never been shown because it doesn't exist. Corinne thinks that they're just going to write messages like this and people are going to be like, oh my gosh, there's security camera footage? I can't believe it. And then they're never going to say, wait a second, where is this? Let's see it. It gets worse, I'm telling you. Um, I'm happy to compile that footage as well as the text messages or emails I haven't already posted. Um, so they posted, looks like they did post text messages in here. They posted screenshots of text messages that Corinne and I had. This is one of them. For might just be this one. This is one of them. Um, and the one before this. This is one of them. Um, so they posted, I think, three or four text messages between the owner of Fire Mecca and myself. Um, so they say, I mean, at this point, the owner of Fire Mecca really needs to post these things, like if they're gonna clear their name, because they're saying there's all this really bad security camera footage, never showed it. Um, Apparently, there's all these bad emails, never showed any of it. They have stated that there's these bad emails. They've stated that there's this bad security camera footage. I mean, the text messages is just when we met, like me telling them stuff about myself, them telling them stuff about their self, um, which none of that none of that shows any bad behavior, and none of that shows any restraining orders. None of it shows, because they say that uh, these other community members said I was a bad person. Let's see those text messages, but they can't show them because they don't exist. It gets worse. Um, they double down on that Jubilee has exposed who I really am, which is strange because, I mean, they're saying things are great since you exposed who I really am. Yet in other places they say, please stop exposing who I am. Like, um, absolutely insane. No proof of any of this. Gets worse. Once again, so um, Jubilee goes on their live YouTube channel often and has a link where people can basically come up on camera like a Zoom meeting. You click the link and you can have a live conversation. Well, in both of these places, the owner of Fire Mecca says, when would you like to come on my stream? They don't stream. Where's the stream? Post the link to the stream. Where's the link to like come up on camera? There isn't one. Then they say again in another place, let's chat on my channel. How do we do that? Where's the live stream? How do we come up onto the owner of Fire Mecca's channel? They're pretending like they also have some kind of YouTube channel where people can come up and chat. This is a comment on Jubilee's channel. It appears like they're trying to make it sound like, yeah, I'm open to having a conversation, but you're making it difficult because you won't come up on my channel. Like, there is no channel to come up on. And they're hoping that Jubilee's, the people that see these videos, and the people that watch Jubilee's channel are going to read this and then just not look into it and think, oh gosh, yeah, the owner of Fire Mecca must be right. Um, we we should just go up on their channel. That'll fix it. There's no way to go up on their channel. Then it gets worse. They say, I prepared 10 minutes of links showing Daniel has been lying to me. Never seen this. This has never been seen anywhere. I don't know how you have 10 minutes of links. Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, does it take 10 minutes to click all the links? I that's usually you have a number of links. Like, I've prepared 10 links or 10 pictures or um, like 100 links or something. They said, I prepared 10 minutes of links. What does that even mean? Um, Either way, we've never seen this. Okay? Once again, no evidence of anything that they've said except the book, but nothing about my restraining orders, nothing about my bad behavior that they say, that I've been lying to them. Um, Here's this other thing. They say, oh, someone else, and they said this in a bunch of other places. We'll go over it, but um, they like to say, I think it's this one. Someone else contacted me about your various restraining orders. Who's that? We never seen the evidence of that because it's made up. And then someone else, this other woman, um, wouldn't vouch for him. Who's that? Some other woman said I had this bad behavior when I lived in Detroit. Who's that? We've never seen any evidence of that. It's just totally fabricated. I think someone else is experienced at weaving stories. That's what it looks like. And we already know that the owner of Fire Mecca told higher ups at Burning Man that they had law enforcement experience while at the same time posting online that they were a vet tech for 22 years before taking over Fire Mecca. And we know how old they are. I mean, like, first of all, that if there was any law enforcement experience, it must have been pretty short lived if they spent 22 years as a vet tech. They've been running Fire Mecca for, I think, at least 3 years, um, maybe going back as far as 2020. But how you fit in having law enforcement experience, it it brings up another question, which is, I mean, most people go into law enforcement like as a pretty big decision, with a long-term mindset, uh, and according to uh, any reasonable person's timeline, they must have only been a law enforcement officer for like 2 years and then quit. Or maybe they were dismissed and fired like the other things that they've done. Like maybe they were fired. But back in 2020, they told some of the heads of Burners Without Borders that they had law enforcement experience. Um, why would you do that other than to just make it seem like you're trustworthy when that had to have been a very long time ago? Um, Someone likes to make it seem like they're trustworthy, and someone is obviously experienced at weaving stories. Um, Weaving meaning they say a bunch of stuff and back none of it up. And just as a reminder, when this was sent to me by a friend of mine who asked Corinne for any ounce of concrete evidence that supports literally any of the accusations they made, and they wrote, there's a video of him behaving strangely, which again, that's not proof of a restraining order, first of all. It's not proof of stalking, or that's not evidence of text messages they had with Doxy from Detroit. Um, But either way, they wrote, I owe you no evidence, and to fuck off when asking for evidence. That's the type of person that this is. Um, when you've told a bunch of lies, you have no evidence to back it up. What else can you say when someone asks for evidence but to fuck off and I owe you no evidence? Because there isn't any. It gets worse. So the owner of Fire Mecca also another comment interacting with someone else who follows Jubilee's channel. Um, Someone else who follows Jubilee's channel um, wrote a comment. I think this might have been about the Twitch stream or something when they uh, basically laughed at gun jokes and blah blah blah. Rangers are supposed to be good at conflict resolution. Why can't you resolve this conflict? And then here we go. Daniel started our friendship on a mountain of lies. We've never seen any evidence of this. If saying you're an atheist, but you wrote some books a few years ago when you were more spiritual, uh, is a mountain of lie, is building a friendship. Corinne didn't even know that that stuff existed. I guess that doesn't matter. If saying that you're an atheist and then someone finds out you wrote some books that today, if you could go back, you'd probably change the name of them. But I mean, that is stuff that I thought at the time. Um, so that artwork is, in that sense, it is accurate to who I was at that time in my life. Um, if that's starting an entire friendship on a mountain of lies, like, holy crap, if you ever interact with the owner of Fire Mecca, you better hope you never change your mind on anything. Um, and you better hope that you never did any artwork that is different, says something different than who you are today. Because according to the owner of Fire Mecca, that is building your friendship on a mountain of lies. Um, they say I'm confident about who I am and that I'll be cleared. This was from the Burning Man Ranger group, and we know what happened. That actually they were investigated and found out that their behavior was breaking the code of conduct for being a ranger. Um, and like here you can see like right, in real time how they they're trying to change the narrative. So everybody saw that video, and Corinne says, I don't like to threaten violence, but this guy needs to go away. Um, a a guy um, their follower who they say right in the video, hey, I DM'd you about this guy, and then that guy comes up in the live chat. Like, look at all the stuff that the owner of Fire Mecca showed with their Burners Without Borders partner. I mean, we don't even have this full text message, right? It just starts out here. Um, they're obviously believing a bunch of the stuff, saying that they have evidence that I'm a stalker, and here's the guy's address, telling lies about Jubilee. This is what they said to their friend Jill, their Burners Without Borders business partner. And like, we don't even know what the owner of Fire Mecca might have said to the guy who brings up, that they have guns. Like, how do we know that the owner of Fire Mecca also didn't send them my address after screaming about how in danger that they were? Okay? Like, we don't know if this guy's in a gang. Maybe he's some kind of thug, some kind of criminal. But like they obviously had no problem putting my address on a Facebook group with over 60,000 people, who they claim is their community. They write, I just shared, they said, I just shared this stuff to my community. Like 60,000 people on a Facebook group, is, I mean, you literally have accounts who could be anyone from anywhere in the world in a group like that. Like it's I would say like that sort of thing. Like even if you thought that genuinely that all these people are real good people, in a group like that, and not bots and not like Russian hackers or something, there is like some kind of thing of like crime of negligence, right? Like you're literally like an adult in your 40s, right? Um, there's crimes of negligence where you you would be hard to prove that a reasonable person would think, yeah, these are people I know. They're all essentially these 60,000 people are like they they in another place they refer to that group as their community. But either way, um, they don't like just discuss this. Um, they laugh about the gun jokes, and then and you know when the guy, like they laugh about the gun jokes, or not the they laugh about the gun comments, um, and here they are saying that's they don't think that's bad behavior, which I mean is their right, but when a guy did nothing wrong and you're telling them to stay away because I have friends with guns and sounding this alarm that I'm some dangerous guy with restraining orders and I'm a psychopath, um, then yeah, that I'm dangerous or something. Um, that is bad behavior, and they weren't discussing it. Like this is the reframing, right? I was just on my stream discussing that I live in an open carry state. No, you were discussing how your thug friend might need to come around with guns because this guy who you used to spin fire with is in the neighborhood, and you might need to brandish that weapon if he comes around, and you get a giant smile on your face about that. Um, like that's not a discussion about open carry laws. That's assault. Okay, next. Um, and once again, we do have a theme here. The theme of this segment is the no proof theme. Um, we've here the owner of Fire Mecca is saying, in paraphrase, the proof is in these private comments and original posts, and the the proof. I have this camera footage. I have these text messages. I have these emails from all these people. They're not showing any of the proof. If any of this existed, I prepared 10 minutes of this proof, these links of this proof, as you saw. No one saw this. They say I prepared 10 minutes of proof for people to see on my channel. Where did we see this? This doesn't exist. 10 minutes of links showing this stuff? No proof. Someone asks you for any evidence. You said, I owe you no evidence, and kindly fuck off. Lastly, I'm happy to keep pasting proof in your comments. Literally, like if you don't see this yet, wake up. The owner of Fire Mecca writes, I'm happy to keep pasting proof in your comments. They literally think that when they say these things. Dan's a con artist. Dan lied. Other people told me he lied. Other people told me this. Other people told me that. Which I don't believe that any of those other people told them any of that. Um, it's unimaginable to me that I have this bad reputation in Detroit. Like, it's never ever came up ever. Um, but uh, those would be some pretty good proof. They, the owner of Fire Mecca, thinks that saying that these things exist, saying this camera footage exists, saying that these emails exist, they think that when they say these things that that is proof, but it's not. This is what they think is proof that, and they wrote. You might have to go see for yourself, unless I'll make another video about it. I like to help you guys out. They copy and pasted this same comment on, like, copy and pasted straight up this exact same comment on, I think, four, maybe three, but I'm pretty sure four of Jubilee's videos. This is the name and the face of the man who lied and swore to me he's an artist. I think that's a typo. I think they mean atheist. This is the name and face of the man who lied and swore to me he's an atheist. He's published a book about God available on Amazon. First of all, it's a poetry book. It's not like about God. It's not, I think, well, I wrote it. I mean, I would say probably 95% of the poetry doesn't mention God or spirituality, but it's very personal poetry. I really enjoyed. I had a, like, you could almost say, a therapeutic experience writing it. I think it's over 600 different poems. Um, and maybe 5% of them, like, hint at spiritual things. Maybe, like, reference, like, old Bible stories in a poetic way. Um, I did put God in the title, but I still don't need to continue to explain that. They're not like Christian books about convincing you that Jesus resurrected or something like that. They're not even close. The other one I wrote is a prayer book, which is like, so I have I have I have a lot I have and I have had a lot of friends who are religious, as I'm sure many people do, because most people are religious. I mean, let's be honest. Most people believe in some form of God, and most people uh, in this country, on average, it's going to be some Christian form of it. And anyways, as an analytical person, I was trying to figure out ways to phrase prayer, and I thought would, like, I think prayer is basically like a psychological thing, like a mantra. I don't really think it's like magical or anything, but I was trying to come up with effective prayers one could verbalize, speak, or read that would um, that could connect to a religious person, um, but also kind of, the prayers are slightly more like mantras. Um, and I just thought that was cool, and I have given that book to friends of mine. I didn't really make it to, like, sell it to get rich, like, not like advertising it or anything. Um, But the cool thing, if you put something up on Amazon Publishing, as far as self-publishing, as far as I can tell, like it stays up there forever. Um, and you can make the ebook copy like as little as 99 cents, and you can make the paperback copy like real cheap. And so I spent time like putting this thing together, and it's like 60 prayers or something. And because I know a number of religious people, to be honest, I basically put that together because I thought it would make a good gift. And my role in life is not to try to convince religious people to no longer be religious. Like, really moved past that. Um, it it is what it is. People are going to be religious. Um, I mean, most people don't really want to talk about it, and most people, when they really get into the weeds, they can start to get offended or whatever. So, um, I try not to like bring up the topic, but most people know. I mean, I would say 90% of people I interact with are religious, and most of those are some form of Christian. And, anyways, I have the cool thing is when you put a book on Kindle Direct Publishing, it's kind of like your own personal printer service. So if I know someone, which this has happened in my adult life, who would probably like this as a gift, like for example, I have two friends who got married, and they didn't they go to church and stuff. They're very very good friends of mine. And they would be the type of person, especially my one friend I'm thinking of in particular, would be a great candidate for this book. He'd probably love it. He'd probably think it was like a cool twist on prayer, and he's a good guy. We can all have our opinions about the pros and cons of certain religions and whatever. Um, but I mean, that's that. Uh, so two poetry books that almost don't even mention God, and one prayer book, which is basically a way to give a gift, a very personal gift, to friends and acquaintances of mine who happen to be religious. Um, and like, notice the owner of Fire Mecca isn't even saying it's bad. Like, it would be bad if I was religious. They're reaching for anything at all, any proof or evidence. They use the word proof here. They're stretching for any proof that they can show people that I'm a liar. And this is all they got. This is all they got. This is the name and face of the man who lied. Well, first of all, swore to you. Like, talk about extreme language. Like, who does that? Like, this is obviously made up too. Not that it matters, but I've never met an atheist that's like, no, please believe me. Like, I swear to you I'm an atheist. Please trust me. Like, how would that even go? Like, that literally makes no sense. Instead of saying who lied by telling me he's an atheist, he swore to me he's an atheist. Like, what in the world? Either way, so there's a lie right in that first sentence, but the man who lied to me that he's an atheist. In fact, he's published 3 books about God. Some atheist. Like, I literally like have attended there's Phoenix humanist groups, which are basically like the Phoenix atheist uh, uh, like meetups or whatever. Um, this is the stupidest thing. And then she links to it. And then she says, I'm happy to keep pasting proof in your comments. Okay, literally, um, all of us would like to see more of this proof, and we've never seen it. Never seen it. All we've seen is more comments making claims. But I, as an atheist, like better than anyone, know that, excuse me, um, claims are not proof. They're just claims. You can claim that Jesus wrote. Here, I'll offend everybody. You can claim that Jesus rose from the dead, but that's not proof he rose from the dead. You can claim that you've seen an angel, but that's not proof that you've seen an angel, right? And we have claim after claim after claim after claim after claim, and no proof. So somebody looks like they're trying to weave a story. And as you saw in the first half of this video, uh, we have these horrifying claims that I don't know if I found the one. I know it exists because like I read it. I believe there's one where Corinne says, I I I I could be wrong, but I believe there's a screenshot where Corinne tries to say that I have restraining orders in multiple states. See if I can find that for you all. But either way, they posted in multiple places that I do have restraining orders. And in the first half of this video, we completely debunked that. Um, I would say that if anyone watching this like still doesn't believe me, like we can find another way to do a background check. Like obviously, I had to block out some of the information um, in order to do it, and I mean, I think that's the best I can do. There's probably ways for, um, if you want to get a hold of me, I could probably send you a copy, like the PDF, where there's more information. Um, or, we could like go through a third party, like agency, or something like that. But I will say that um, I pretty recently got a new job, and it's uh, let's just it has security clearance. Um, the job that I have requires a much higher level of background check than uh, average. Than like your average employer, even average engineering. But yeah, I guess I've said publicly that I work in engineering. Um, Definitely requires a more thorough background check than like working at Starbucks or something. It's a security clearance type of background check. And there's no way I could have gotten that job if I had any issues on my record either. Um, so I've tried to go pretty far and wide. But one of the things, we're going to be contacting more people. Other people have come up on this channel, and yeah, looking forward to all of that kind of stuff. There is other news. Um, so, hey, look forward to breaking news, I suppose you could say. So, thanks for watching.